Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Tim Parker, the Global Marketing Director here at Imagine.
Hi, I'm Rick Ricart, owner, founder of Imagine Tours and Travel with my lovely wife, Amy.
And we want to welcome you all this afternoon to Imagine That. It's been a while since we've been able to be here.
It has been between travels and summer and taking a little bit of a hiatus, so it's been kind of nice, actually.
Yeah. So we've had a good summer so far. All the school traffic was gone, so we were able to make it to work in 5 minutes instead of 30.
Yes.
So that was nice.
Yes.
But that comes to an end next week for us.
Well, and some are even back in school already this week, or at least orientation, so we're starting to see it start back to a little more traffic on the roads, and
Yeah.
it's just the way life is.
Yeah.
So also, a little bit more normalcy as we get back into our regular routines.
Yeah, summer's a little slow typically around here, but now it's starting to pick back up. We're beginning to get inquiries about, of course, Israel, which is what we're hoping to talk about today. In fact, we've had a lot of those beginning to come back in. I do want to mention that if you are either joining late or not able to be here for a part of this, you can always go back to our YouTube channel and catch any of our episodes that we put together, and you can watch any of those whenever you have time to watch that. So,
Can I add to that? If you have any questions, we're going to be answering questions throughout the live stream. So if you have anything that there is, please feel free to type them in, send them to us. We'd love to answer any of your questions. So we'll be sure to do that as well.
sure, sounds great. So, over the summer, everything had kind of slowed down with everything, but airlines have opened back up. Am I right?
They have resumed. We have United, we have Delta, Lufthansa, Austrian, Swiss, Air France, Brussels Air, you name it. Of course, LL, Arkia. The list pretty much goes on and on. ITA, you name it. They're all flying to Tel Aviv again. So most airlines have resumed as early as last month. And now that we're finally in August, service has started back on a normal basis.
That's great.
And as continuous tourism picks up, they'll add more and more flights. So at least now we have actual flights from North America with U.S. air carriers, not just European airlines flying to Tel Aviv.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. We've been waiting a long time. It's been quite the journey. If you specialize in the Middle East, especially in the Holy Land in Israel, and you're aware of this, we've kind of had some hurdles, up and downs. It's nice to be able to say it's a positive, and that definitely makes life a lot easier with the airlines flying.
Yep. So definitely been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but we are back on the downhill slope again.
We are. It's kind of nice. You can't stay up in the top too long, so you got to be down in the valleys too, not just the peaks.
Yeah.
But needless to say, we do have good news to share. We actually had our first group return to Israel. They actually arrived today, so they are in Israel. It's a decent group that's there. I think there are 36 people.
Yep.
So we're excited about that. That's the first to start off for really this fall.
Yeah. So first group out. We have another couple of groups that'll be taking off here fairly soon.
Yes, as early as next week.
Wow. So
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, as early as next month.
next month. Okay. So we had our first group off since everything kind of shut down for a little while. First group's back over there. Sure that they're beginning. Actually, they were doing a little bit different route. I think were spending their first night in the Dead Sea. So flying into Tel Aviv, going to the Dead Sea, and then they're going to begin their touring probably tomorrow. They get settled in this evening into a hotel.
Correct. So we're excited that they're going to have an opportunity to visit the Holy Land and be there in Israel, which is great. I know of many other groups among some of our friends and even other companies that have groups that are also traveling this month to Israel. So I believe some of them are starting as early as this Wednesday, so tomorrow.
Great.
So there'll be other groups as well, which is very exciting to see that tourism is finally starting to take baby steps in returning back to Israel.
Yeah. So this one, just, can you speak real quick on the itineraries? Is there anything that people are not able to go and see and do?
Well, and that's really what this cast is about, is probably the misnomer, or as we wanted to say, what's really the truth right now is you can travel to Israel and it's safe.
Yeah.
The media won't tell you that, of course, and the media is wanting to have ratings and viewings and so forth, but keep in mind, the rest of Israel outside of the Gaza area, we don't go to anyway. So everything else remains, all of the sites, the biblical sites are open.
Yeah.
So you have no problem traveling to the north. I think that's probably one of the biggest questions is, can we go to Caesarea Philippi, Tel Dan, things like that? The answer is yes. People are asking, can you go to Bethlehem? Bethlehem's been open. They just haven't had tourism because people haven't been traveling, at least in regards to groups. There's been some individuals, some families, smaller, a lot of, for better terminology, Israeli groups, things like that. Those that are supporting Israel have been traveling, so there's been a lot of groups, but primarily for Christian groups, Protestant groups, Catholic groups, things like that, they're just starting back up again.
Well, that's good news to hear. I mean, I've received a lot of phone calls asking us whether people could travel.
Yes.
Had a phone call just the other day asking whether people could travel into Bethlehem. You just answered that. I believe Jericho's open as well.
It's been open the whole time.
Yeah.
No problems whatsoever. Those are great questions, but the reality is you can travel throughout all of Israel on any one of our typical regular tours without any issues whatsoever.
That's great. So we're moving back to some sense of normalcy. Of course, we continue
Yes.
to pray for everyone over there, and we should always be praying for Israel.
Yes.
That's what we're called to do for that area of the world. What are you and I looking like? Do
We are traveling back ourselves. We will be in Israel a month from now, sometime in the middle of September.
Yeah.
So we will be in Israel firsthand as well. This will actually be our third trip this year.
Yes, it will be.
So we'll be back. It's been a little light. I mean, we thought we'd be there a little bit sooner after the April trips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to be able to get back there.
I think we had kind of hoped to be able to launch with this initial group that we have in Israel right now, and unfortunately, ticket prices were way too expensive.
Yeah, they were kind of crazy. Again, as we were waiting for the airlines to return back, literally when you talk about supply and demand, and there was a lot more demand for seats than there was supply of airlines. So now as the airlines are finally starting back, we can resume back to getting flights at a more reasonable airfare.
Yeah.
So they're still a little high right now, but they'll come down.
Yeah. So just have to wait a little bit longer to get over there. So really looking forward to that trip.
Well, and to add to that, for all of the groups that we've already had booked, we already secured flights with group bookings and paid deposits. So those airline prices for the group tickets, those are already locked in.
Yeah.
So those have not increased. We haven't had any issue. It's any new ones that we're securing now or any individual tickets, it's whatever the price will bear, based again on supply and demand.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I know a lot of people have said, well, I kind of expected the price to come down, but that's unfortunately not the case. But like you said, the way that you always secure airspace as far out as you possibly can, really.
We do.
Then we're able to secure that pricing and able to hold that for the passengers that are traveling on those tours without having to worry about any kind of major fluctuation in the air prices.
Well, and we were even, this week securing flights for next May and next June for groups that are already scheduled to travel to Israel. So we've already gone and sent the request to the airlines, and for the May groups, we've already secured all the flights, and now for the June groups, those flights are just coming into range with the airlines. So 335 days out in most cases is when we're able to start securing the flights. So that's what we're doing. And what we do is we secure the flights, we send a deposit to the airlines so that we can lock in the total number of seats that we think the group is going to need. based on when they made the booking.
Yeah.
And that's usually with the pastor telling us, I'm planning to bring 20, or I'm planning to bring 40, or whatever those numbers are. So that's what we try to go after, and then we try to work it out with the airlines.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's really a good idea to kind of have in mind what you're hoping to bring so that we can make sure that we secure the right amount of seats for
correct.
travel, right?
Correct.
Not only for travel, but for hotel space. And we've got a great question from Terry.
Please.
She's asking, Terry's asking, will you be using the original hotels you had planned to use last year, or will they be different?
The answer is probably going to be yes and no. In most cases, they're probably going to be the same hotels. Depending on which hotels have already been secured and confirmed for your group, we have to first double check and make sure that they have done the proper renovations. That's actually one of the things that we're going to be doing next month when we're in Israel, is not only having meetings with, managers, general managers, owners of hotels, things like that, but actually doing on-site inspections of the hotels. And I don't mean just looking at the lobbies or the restaurants or the open facilities, but really looking at the rooms, checking out the bathrooms, making sure that they've been renovated. Many of the hotels had, for the last 16 months, I would say, have been hosting families that, had to move out of their homes because they were in the north in doing so. So many of those hotels had to be renovated, updated. You're going to be very surprised to see that 90% of the hotels, the people have now returned back to their homes. There's 10, maybe even as many as 15% that are still doing renovations and things like that. But most of them have already left the hotels, so they can start going back to renovating them. It takes time to do that, but we're not using any of the hotels that aren't renovated or aren't up to our standards to begin with.
Yeah, so if there is a hotel change, it's going to be because we felt that it was best for the
Definitely best for
passengers to move to a different hotel. And there are multiple hotels in Israel that we use, different chains, and the level of service that we always kind of set for that is very nice. So we're going to make sure that whatever hotel you're staying in is the one that we feel most comfortable with you staying in.
Absolutely. And depending on when your group is scheduled to travel, we'll also have an update in regards to that. Like, for example, I would say 45 to 50% of the hotels have already gone through renovations. Some of them might have only done 30% of the hotel. Some of them might have done as much as 90% of the hotels. Some of the hotels were lightly impacted because some of them only took a small percentage of those that had to actually be housed there with their families. Mm-hmm. Others took the entire hotel. So it really depends on each one. And the locations and the size of the hotels, when you're planning to travel. There's a lot of different components that go into it, but we're fully aware of that. And actually, we were even looking at some of these hotels when we were there back in April, and seeing what had been done and so forth. And some of the hotels, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised just to see some of the new additions and renovations they've done. One of them, I'll just use the name, the Nafkin kibbutz. They have done tremendous renovations, but they're still not done yet. But, the larger the hotel, the longer it takes.
Yeah.
But some of the areas that really housed families, they've done some really incredible upgrades to certain sections of the hotel that are amazing. So we want to make sure that our groups are only staying in those that are renovated.
Yep. So not only are we revisiting hotels that we've used over several years, there are new hotels, I believe, that have opened and maybe not even had tourists in them at all.
That's true.
So brand new hotels that Rick and I'll be able to get to see and experience and be able to kind of plug those into our library of hotels that we use, but also chances for you passengers to be able to go and experience something new.
Yep, and probably just to add to that, you spoke to it lightly in the sense that the majority of our hotels that we use to begin with are already a 4-star plus. That's really our beginning level. And then, of course, there's your moderate 5 stars, your 5-star plus, depending on how your tour was built and sold and what the requirements were at the time of the booking by the organizer.
Yeah.
Which is usually your pastor or, tour director in that regard. So it really just depends.
Yeah, our standard is going to be 4-star. We have tour hosts that love to stay in 5-star properties.
Yep.
But even our 3-star properties that
We have some wonderful 3-star
Yeah,
properties.
so-
You just have to know where to do it, and, there are some that come to us that have different budgets, and we can definitely meet the budget needs for that group. Even if it's somebody new who's watching this and they haven't booked their trip and they're on a different kind of budget and they're looking, we have many great options if they're willing to listen. So, but that's an easy thing.
Yeah. So Earl's asking, are there any limitations on visits to Jerusalem? Or are all the typical sites available? Yes.
Everything's open.
You could visit everywhere in Jerusalem. I don't know, have they actually opened back up the Pool of Siloam? Have you heard?
The Pool of Siloam is open,
Wow, that's great.
so it is open.
We'll get to
Yeah,
see that.
get to see it. City of David's open, things like that as well. Not to digress, but we just had groups that were in Israel, literally, if you remember, during the time of when the whole situation with the Israel-Iran conflict, we had groups that were there.
Yeah.
And people said, "You're kidding me." And I said, "No, we had groups that were there, and they still did some sightseeing and did certain things, went to the Mount of Olives, went to the Western Wall, went to the City of David, things like that, went and visited the new embassy and had their picture taken outside, things like that." And of course, afterwards, we had them leave, and they were able to exit to Jordan, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And did that, and then they flew out. So, and then we had another group that was there that was good friends of ours, and they didn't make necessarily the arrangements with us. They had for other reasons, and they needed assistance to get out, and we helped with them get out as well, and they were able to cross over to Jordan, and we had no issues with that either. So you'd be surprised at how many of the sites are open, but right now, all of them. The only real change has been, like, for example, the Garden Tomb probably has limited hours of operation. So you might find that at some of the sites for the groups that are probably going for this August and probably even impacted for September. When we look at October, and I say September because there's a lot of Jewish holidays, we don't normally have a lot of our groups travel in September, so that limits us regardless of whether or not there had been a war or no war. September would have been light business to begin with based on the fact of the Jewish holidays. Most of our groups don't travel at that time. You don't want to pay the supplements. The hotels, the airlines charge high season supplements during the Jewish holidays, so we try to avoid them at all cost whenever possible. October, though, is really when tourism begins, because October is, you're going to see quite a few tours that are going to be there in October, November, and even December.
Yeah.
And then, of course, next year, that's a whole nother topic, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of groups booked for 2026.
Yeah. I know the group you were talking about that was there during the start of that conflict, they transferred over to Jordan. They were actually able to tour some of the sites in Jordan.
Yeah, they saw more of Jordan than I ever thought they were going to see.
Yeah.
They had 3 full days of sightseeing, and I had never been to Jordan before. They had not, and so we were able to show them. They did Petra, they did Wadi Rum, they did Mount Nebo, they did Madaba, they did the Dead Sea. They did everything but on the Jordanian side, and they said it was probably one of the best experiences they could have had.
Yeah.
So,
So I know we've got a comment from Vicki, a good friend who's traveled with us and is traveling with us again. She's excited that she's heading over in November, and she gets to visit Jordan and Egypt while she's over there.
you're going to love it, Vicki. And Jordan has not been impacted, nor Egypt, so you will see, of course, everything is normal. Of course, Israel is going to be perfect.
Yeah. So how many groups do you think we have between now and the end of the year that'll be taken off?
I want to say 24 groups, I believe.
Okay.
So it doesn't sound like a huge number, but we have 24 groups between now and the end of the year.
Okay.
And I will say that for next year, we should have over 100 plus.
Yeah. And we're already beginning to book tours into 2027. Several groups have already booked and are moving towards that. So if you are a tour host or if you're a someone who's wanting to go to Israel and you're hoping that your church might do that, it would be a good idea to go ahead and get that call made and for us to start planning that for you, as I'm sure everything's going to begin to book up fast.
Quickly, but we do have blocks, and we've blocked space already for next year with anticipation that we knew that there's going to be certain dates that are going to be of high interest. So we try to be a little proactive in that regard. But there's a big misnomer out there, and that really is the fact that it is safe to travel. And then, we have people saying, I can't believe that you would be sending people to Israel right now. It's really a personal choice. I would tell you it's probably the safest time to be there. This is really when you should travel, and there's no crowds. You actually have more time at the sites, and you have more time to actually get in maybe one or two additional sites on just about every day. When you think about it, we've been seeing online registrations still for this year for groups for Israel.
Yeah.
And people are like, you're kidding me. And I'm like, no. I mean, even today, we had 2 more that registered for a trip that's going this November.
Yeah.
So when we tell you that groups are actually going, they are going and they are filling up, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you have other questions?
No, I think I was just going to comment similar to what you did. Just we had groups that were traveling in October. I think they had a few people drop off, and now actually some of those people are now coming back on because
Yes, they are.
decided that they feel comfortable with being able to travel over there, and others that are joining those same tours. So if you have questions about wanting to set up a tour or to Israel or any of our other destinations, but to Israel, I think right now would be a great idea to jump on board with that, because, like I said, the level of interest in traveling back to Israel has become high.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And if things continue to remain peaceful and things are as they should be, as we'd like to say, for another few months, my personal guess would be that next year for Israel, you're going to see really from March onward, nothing but more and more interest,
Yeah.
and great interest, to say the least.
So if you're thinking about setting a tour up, you can contact us at sales@ittworld.com. That's sales@ittworld.com. We'll probably flash that up for you here in just a second. Or you can reach out to info@ittworld.com for just if passengers have general questions for that, for anything like that. You can also contact us at 863-709-9208, 863-709-9208, and we're happy to spend time answering any of the questions that you might have.
Sure. And I mean, just to give you an idea, I mean, we actually have some groups. I know that Vicky had mentioned that they're doing Israel and Jordan and Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
We have other groups that are doing the same, all 3 countries. And even for like Dr. John Delancey, I'll plug him and just say, but he has a group that's going in February of next year, and that group is sold out. I mean, essentially they filled the entire Nile River cruise.
Wow.
As well as their trip is sold out. So it's amazing to say that. And he still has a large group, I believe, going this September as well.
Okay.
So that's another one for next month. And we have a lot of other groups that have done exceptional. So, for people to think that people aren't traveling, that's just not really the case.
Yeah.
It's really a choice. We wouldn't be going back next month if we didn't feel it was safe. I'm not going to send you somewhere that we don't believe is going to be safe. And we are in constant contact with our office partners in Israel. We talk to all of our friends and the restaurant owners and store shop owners and guides and drivers and you name it. It's constant. I mean, the communication back and forth is, if I look at my WhatsApp and our phone calls and our emails, it's multiple throughout the day.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got another great friend, Randy, who's traveling in February. We're excited about your trip as well, Randy. We
Yes.
just spent some time with Randy back in May on a river cruise that we were doing. So good to see your name pop up, Randy.
Yes, and it was a great time on the river cruise. So I'm not allowed to go there on this simulcast, so I'll make sure. But we'll definitely have something on river cruises in
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah. So we just wanted to spend some time sharing with you that we're looking forward to being in Israel ourselves.
Yes.
We know that a lot of you are excited. I just spent time with a group on a Zoom call that's traveling in December. I would say all of them, just the faces, the looks on their faces as I shared with them that they were going to be able to travel, they were very excited to be returning
That's
to
awesome.
Israel.
That's
So,
awesome.
If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot those to us, even if it's after the fact. We'll try to get those answered for you. What else would you like to share? Anything?
Israel's, it's open, it's safe. There's no better time to travel than now, and don't let the media fool you.
Yeah, make sure you're watching multiple different things over there, because you're going to get different information from everyone. But like Rick said, we wouldn't be traveling over there if we didn't feel that it was a good idea for us to be going. And I would happily take any of my family
In a
with me.
heartbeat,
In
yeah.
fact, most of them are probably a little upset that I'm getting to go and they're not. So.
Agreed.
So, well, it was good to see you all again this week for Imagine That. We will be planning these every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So we would look forward to getting to spend some time with y'all each week on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Again, if you have either arrived late to this and you need to go back and take a look, you can go to our YouTube channel and pull up any of the videos, any of the live streams that we've done, or any of the videos that we've posted. So,
That's wonderful. And I believe next week we're going to be talking about river cruises.
oh, great.
So-
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a lot
We'll start
going on.
talking about that. So, thanks, Monica, for jumping in. We appreciate you as well. Glad we were able to have this time to share some information with you. And of course, at any time afterwards, if you feel like you need to get in touch with us, you can email us or call us or jump in on the comments here, and we'll try to get those answered for you. So, thanks for tuning in to Imagine That.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll be back with you again next week.
Look forward to seeing you then.
Take care. God bless.